Hello, Lalo.
Hello, hello. Okay, we have a very exciting Web Lounge today. It is the last Web Lounge of the year. It's been a great 6 months. We've been doing the Web Lounge together with you all. And if you haven't seen it already, this week or this month, Vev launched their year in review. I'm gonna pop the link for you in the chat now, which is an awesome project created by our team to highlight uh, all the crazy things that happened in Vev this year, including highlighting our clients. And the whole thought process is that we're always inspired by the people who create in Vev, which is you guys. You're always pushing the boundaries of what we even knew what was possible in the platform. And that's probably my favorite part of seeing what the platform can do, right? It's so fun when someone has done something and you just look like, what? Is that really made in Vev?
Yeah, there's been a lot of times this year where clients have shared work with us. Me in particular, because I do like onboarding with a lot of you clients. So sort of me teaching people how to use Vev, and then very quickly they'll be like, "Oh, we made this," and then my mind's just absolutely blown away. So there's a lot of cool projects which we put on our showcase, and if anybody has some work that they want to have featured on the showcase, we are there's a little bit inside of this year in review where you can submit your work as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so the year in review is first of all a highlight of all the things that you guys did um, this year, which is very cool and inspiring to see. So even though we don't have a guest speaker today, the intention was to just break down the inspiration that all of you have given us in the year in review. And we'll see how some of those features or some of that functionality has been executed using Vev. And you're going to show us live how to do it, Lewis.
Yeah, I'll show. I won't show everything because there's a lot in here. But if there's anything in particular that you guys like the look of, what we'll do is we'll go through the report very quickly, and then we'll kind of do a breakdown of some of the things that me and Marlin really liked about the year in review report, which a lot of the stuff is taking inspiration from some of our clients. But if there's anything you like the look of and think, oh wow, that's really cool, I wanna see that how that's made, we can definitely dive in and take a look. So, first of all, let's take a look at the actual year in review itself. So, some of you have probably already got this open and had a look at it. But I'm just going to take a quick look and show you some of the features in here that are available. So, first of all, we have this nice 2022 year in review design here at the top. When you first load the page, it will do this sort of like bouncing motion, which I think was really well done by Nina and our team. And then here we've got two sort of like highlights. So when you click on these two things, we have the sun and the moon. And this is taken by inspiration by a project from 900 Octane, where they have sort of like a day and night cycle, different modes that you can look at the website at, which I think is really, really cool. And anytime you see the sort of inspired by icon at the bottom here, it will lead you to the actual website where we took the inspiration from. So obviously giving credit to where credit's due, but also so you guys can take a look at those projects as well. And all the ones that we feature in here are of course made in Vev, as they are our clients. So yeah, that's the introduction. And then going into more some of the sort of details and stuff like that. I'm not going to go into every single detail that we have in terms of what it's in the report, but we're just kind of breaking down sort of like the features that are available in here. So here we've got like a scroll animation for the background color and some websites here, which again were all made in Vev. Some statistics of these like sort of exploding numbers with almost 34,000 projects made in Vev this year, which is I think a huge achievement. So well done everybody who has made projects in Vev. There's a lot of cool ones, as I'm sure you can agree, Marlin. And then in terms of data, we've got 90 terabytes worth of data uploaded to Vev. But yeah, this exploding sort of animation is taken as inspiration from Publicis Norway, from their website. So you can get a link from that here. And then scrolling further down, we've got some of the highlights of some of the top features in Vev, so the most used features. And then here we've got a nice sort of like scroll speed with things moving at different speeds, and it creates a nice cool parallax effect. And to no surprise to anyone, the most popular sort of element that's been used in Vev is the scrolly telling image, which everybody seems to love and is used on a lot of projects. So yeah, you can see as 8,500 uses of that this year, which is great. And then further down, yeah, some landing pages linking to some of our favorite projects of the year, and you can click through and have a look at these individual websites themselves. And then obviously, like I mentioned, if you want to share your work from projects that you've made in Vev, then you can just go in here and select share it with us, and then you'll get a little form and you can submit your content for us to have a look at. And then further down, there's some bit more information about us. So we created this 3D globe, which features sort of like hotspots of all of us around the world. So, for example, here's me, and some information about me, and as well as Marlin here as well. So, yeah, you can see basically all the faces behind Vev and what we're about and what we like to do, which is really cool. So this features our new sort of 3D image model viewer that we released this year, which features hotspots too, which I think is very, very cool. And Marlon, if there's any questions that come in, do let me know, because I can't see the questions whilst I'm going through this at the moment.
No questions so far, just compliments.
Awesome. Good to hear. Yeah, and then sort of breakdown of the little trip that we had earlier this year when we all went to Lofoten for company trip, and we went on some rib boats, which was really cool. And then further down, we got a breakdown of our feature releases. So some of the top things that we released this year, such as auto layout and multiplayer editing, the 3D image carousel, the 3D element, which I just showed, update to breakpoints, and the hover gallery as well. Oh, and some more things, charts and Figma import. So yeah, there's quite a lot in there. And then a breakdown of what we're going to be doing next year, including CMS integrations, an update to the animation tool, grid layouts, and updates to roles and permissions. And then also we've been a part of a lot of talks this year, which probably you can share a bit more information about, Marlings, as you were in a lot of those sort of conferences this year.
Yeah, just traveling around, spreading the message on how to create for the web. It's been really, really fun to see. We, for example, went to Awards, a really famous web conference that in this round was in Amsterdam. It's very fun.
Yeah, super cool. Yeah, and then further down, a bit of a breakdown of some of the work we've done with some universities, including Oxford Brookes, and I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Højskolen?
Give it a go. Højskolen.
Højskolen.
Yep.
Christian. And these are some of the projects that some of the students there have created, which we were, I think, blown away. I think that this was something that you did with Tyrrell, is that right? With these students?
Yeah, some of these examples are from uni partnership that Tyrrell, one of the product managers in Vev, and myself, with some assistance from Yuki, one of our customer success managers as well, did to teach the next generation of web creators how to use Vev for their content experiences. That's cool. Very, very fun to work with students on these type of projects.
Yeah, and I think the stuff they've created very quickly in Vev is amazing. So we're very excited to see some of the future stuff they can provide as well. We updated our CLI, so anybody that is sort of a code editor or a coder can get a bit more of a breakdown in our sort of help articles, which we'll go through later. We have a link to some of our updated stuff as well, and a breakdown, of how to use and code in Vev, which is cool. And then, finally, we launched our blog this year as well. Was it this year or maybe last year? But we added a lot of content to the blog with some of our favorite articles here, or some of the favorite articles that you guys seem to really click with, which is cool. And you can click and go through to any of these articles as well with a nice, cool little hover animation, which I think is really cool. Which was inspired by a project from LS Graphics, which we recreated in Vev because we really like the look of it. And then some kind words from all of you of how you like Vev, saying it's simply amazing and everything you want to build a website. Some really cool testimonials there. And then we also won 20 awards this year, which is amazing. They're all here. And we got some reviews as well for our G2 reviews if you want to go through and have a read through some of those. Then finally, we're kind of linking into some of our community stuff. So including sort of our partnerships, if you want to be part of a partnerships program, Discord, obviously the Vev Lounge, which we're part of now, and you can sort of register for our future ones, and also our newsletter as well if you want to get involved there. And then growing on Instagram, we share all the projects that you guys create, and then that leads us to next year, which we've got a lot of stuff in the pipelines for you all. And thank you for being a part of our journey this year. And we can't wait to see the stuff that you create with us next year. So on that note, I will jump into having a look at some of how we build some of this stuff that we've created in Vev. Lemon liked the globe, which is cool. You like to see how the globe is made. So that's the first thing we can take a look at. If there's anything else you guys see from the year in review that you love to look at, do give us a shout. And I'm just going to go in and break down some of our favorite parts at the moment. So first off, let's start with the globe, I think, because that seems to be a favorite. Let's take a look at my project here. So this is a kind of a breakdown of some of our favorite sections that we've got in the year in review, which I've put into a separate project, so I don't mess around with the existing project. And then further down here, we've got our globe. So the globe here itself is a 3D object, and you can access this via the add menu. And if you search for 3D object, you will get the 3D object in here. And when you add it to the canvas, there will be a pre-rendered like a default 3D object of a little spaceman, which obviously you can upload your own files as well. So this supports, I believe, GLB and GLTF files. So when you open up we'll double click it, you open up the contextual menu, and in here you can see a preview of the model itself. And here is the file that we've uploaded. If we go to hotspots, you can go in and basically click and assign different hotspots. So when you click on them, you can make them sort of show and hide and reveal content. And this works very similar if you ever use things like show hide and anything like that. But I can give you a little bit of a breakdown on how to do that in just a moment once I come out of here. But basically, you just click where you want your hotspot to be, and then it'll assign a new hotspot in here on the right hand side. At the moment here, we've got 38 different hotspots, which is quite a lot. So you can go in and basically assign content or a group or a frame, however you want that information to appear. And then when you click on that hotspot, it will then reveal that content. And then on the poster image, you can upload sort of like a fallback image if you have a really large file and want to, you have a large file and there's a slow internet speed. It might take a little while for that 3D object to render. So you can just have a little fallback image. So you kind of know that there's something there or something to come. And then as it's progressing, there'll be a little loading path. But generally that loads really quickly because I think the maximum file size is 75 megabytes. But if you're on a slow internet speed, obviously that's going to be quite slow. And then under settings, there's a few different options here. So the first one is auto rotate. So when this is selected, the 3D object will automatically rotate. And when you interact with the object, it will stop moving for maybe, I think, 3 seconds or so, and then it will start to move again. And then enable zoom. So this is like scroll activated zoom. So if you go in, hover over the 3D object and scroll, it will zoom in and out. A lot of people like to have this disabled because as they're scrolling down the page, when they zoom in, it's going to zoom into that object instead rather than progressing down the page. And then finally, you can sort of assign the different colors for the hotspots. And then for the actual hotspots themselves, so for the information, so here on the left hand side, we've created groups for all of the different employees. So there was quite a lot of us, so it took a little time to do. But essentially, you would then, I'm going to just reveal my card here. So I designed this card, and I've got my name, an image, a little bit about me, and I've assigned this into a frame. So you can select all the objects and just press Command G, or you can right click and select group. And that way you can create a card. And then the first thing you'll just need to do is make sure that it's named appropriately on the left-hand side for it to appear on that list. So once that's selected and you've created this and you like the look of it, when you go back to the 3D object, when you get to the hotspot, you can see here, for example, my name. I can go in and just assign my card that I've got here. So I've got Lewis frame. And then when that's selected, when you click it, it will then show and hide as I showed you earlier. So yeah, that's pretty much a summary of the 3D objects. It's a fairly new feature, so we've not seen a huge amount of projects with it on there yet, but the ones we have done have been really amazing, which is obviously where we took inspiration from this one from I think it was D2. So that's super, super cool as well. Any questions on the globe? Anything else you guys would like to see? If not, I'll sort of shyly move on to the next thing that I was going to show anyway.
No comments in the chat yet, but they might come in.
Nice. Okay, for the next thing I'll break down, I think, is this hero image that I've got. So here where we had it before, if I preview this again, we've got the sort of like the sun and the moon. So when we click on this, it will then show the different or change the background color. And how we did this is we set a lot of different animation triggers. So here where we've got the sun and the moon, these are our triggers. So we name these appropriately. But in actual fact, what we need to set the animation as is the background, because that's what we're changing the color of, and for the text and things like that. So to do this, you would add an animation. And then here, for example, you can see we've got an animation set against click. So when something is clicked, this animation will play. And then under the settings here, we've set it to change background color. You can set the duration of how quick you want this to transition. And then underneath all the settings here, we have our triggers. So we've got, set the triggers to light and dark for these two buttons. And then here you would then set that background color. So as you can see in the background, that animation preview has played, and you can see that's going from yellow to blue, I guess, or green, however you would want to say that. And then you can also see that these numbers change as well. So for this, what we've done is basically the same thing, except from we've assigned it specifically to each of these numbers. So these are SVGs rather than actual text boxes themselves. And then for these, we have the animations set. And then, for the click animation, we have this set for those two triggers, which is those buttons for the sun and the moon, the light and dark mode that we've got there, which I think's, really, really cool. Moving further down, again, playing with animations a bit. So we have this, which we took inspiration from Publicis from. For all these numbers here, we have, again, SVG shapes, and each one of these we have set a scroll animation against them. So if I go into this one, for example, this first one, we can see that we have the scroll animation set. And then under here, we have, a few different settings. So we have the rotation set, and then we have moving on the X and Y axis. So all of these are sort of unique. So they have different settings for each one. So they all use the same thing where you're using the rotation, the X and the Y, but they all have unique values. So they kind of like explode uniquely. So if we go back to that preview, we can see here that, yeah, they kind of move all in different directions. And yeah, so we just basically set animations for each one of these and then scrolled to make that sort of look like it's exploding, which I think is a really, really cool effect. And then, yeah, we covered the globe.
Before you, I
Oh,
just there's a few questions in the chat about which 3D
okay.
files are supported in Bev, and if there are any sites or libraries where you can find 3D files for free. So just pop some in there, some examples. For example, CG Trader, Sketchfab, 3D Export. They have several 3D models and assets available. And then when it comes to the file, Lewis, it's GLB that is supported in Vev.
Yeah, that's right. So it's GLB, but it does also support GLTF files as well. But basically, GLBs and GLTFs are sort of like a mix of all. Whenever you create like 3D objects or files, generally they're in different files. So you have one for like the meshes, one for the textures and things like that. So a GLB is it puts all those files together into one file format, so it's easier to upload. It's a smaller file size as well, so it's more compatible for web use. And then you can also, yeah, obviously make them if you are a talented 3D graphic designer, which is cool. Yeah, further down we have, yeah, again, playing with animation. So we're covering a lot of animations in this project, which is, I think, is really cool. So this one, for example, you can see in here as the scroll is coming in, they're kind of like transitioning in, and there's this sort of hard cut that you have. And this is achieved with the scroll animation. So if I open up the settings here and go to scroll animation, you can see here that it's this very simple scroll animation. So it's basically just two settings. One is the moving on the x-axis, which is horizontal, and then the opacity going from 0 to 1. So it's super simple. But in order to sort of get this sort of cut-off effect where this is coming in from this hard line here, here we've got this frame which houses all the content. So you got the name, the background, and things like that. In order to get that sort of like hard cut effect, you would just need to go in and select clip content. So if this is unticked, if I go back, you can sort of see that this just comes in from the side without having that sort of hard cut in there. So using the clip content, you can make some sort of cool effects like that with any of your animations, which I think is really cool. Things like drawing a line or something like that can be used on anything, which a lot of our clients this year have made really cool stuff by using the clip content functionality. And then we've done this basically for every single element inside here. And then finally, again, playing with animations, we have this sort of hover experience here where you hover and it moves and changes the background color, which again kind of covers over the stuff that we've done covered previously in terms of the background beginning, but this is set to hover trigger rather than a scroll or a click. So for each one of these, so if I take this Vev Experts one, click on the animation here, you can see under the hover trigger. So with all your animations, you have 4 different triggers here. And we've actually used every single one in this project, which is cool. And then for this, we have set it to be 0 to 50. So this is moving along. And then I believe a bit further down, it must be from this one. Yeah. So this on this one here, we've set the trigger to be the actual frame here itself, and then we've made the background color change for this text box here, so you have this cool effect when you hover over it, so it changes color and moves across. And then we've just changed the color respective for each of the different icons here, which is cool. And then that's all the ones that I wanted to cover. A lot of use of animation, and some of our new features as well, like the 3D globe. If there's anything anyone else would like to see, I'm all ears.
Let's ask the audience what their favorite interactivity or functionality was from the year in review. Let us know in the chat.
And also, it'd be good to hear as well, like what everyone's sort of maybe favorite new features were this year, what they would like to see next year, features wise. Just I guess, a space so for all of us can just sort of chat and hear, you know, what you want from us in the future. I feel like we need some get some background music for when we're waiting for questions, sort of like a question time sort of thing. An increasing number effect. Yes, it is. So, if I go into the project here and scroll down and go down to, yeah, I'm just going to add another section in here so we can add this. So if I go into the add menu, I think it's called number counter here. So this one here, if you select this, you can see that in the preview you can set like a counter there, and you can go in, draw that in, and then by default it will just be 0 to 100. But if you double click on this, you can go in and set those numbers. So if I wanted that to go to 500, I can add that. You can set a starting value as well. So if you didn't want it to be super long, you can make it start from a lower, like a, I don't know, 300 or something like that. You can change the increment and how much that jumps by. And then you can also set a delay as well. So if you want that to sort of, when it comes into view, if you want it to just animate straight away, you can set that to 0, or you can make it, you know, be a set number, so you can see the 0 and then it then increase after 800 milliseconds. And then finally you have the run once. So this basically works, so if I hit preview, go away and come back, that will then replay when run once is set. So if I go back in, if run once is set, that animation will only play once. So if I go in and scroll to that, you can see this will count. And then if I go back up and go back down, then that's not going to repeat basically. So it stops it from being annoying if somebody's like scrolling up and down and you've got a lot of number counting. Maybe you don't want the animations to play every time. You can do that. And then on the right hand side here, in terms of the styling, if you want to change the size of the text here, you can go in and adjust this, change the font and colors and things like that, as well as the margin and the padding too, which is quite cool. So I think this has been used quite a lot. I think we use this as well in our plant e-commerce example that we have when you create a project in Vev. So you can kind of jump in and see how we've used that as well. On the report, how did you make the 3D gallery? I think you mean, let me just see if I can bring that up. I think you mean the 3D carousel. So correct me if I'm wrong, but we do have it's a new component as well, which we released this year, but it is if you can search for it in the add menu as 3D carousel, but it's also available from the drop down here as well. So we have this 3D image carousel, and then I can go in and draw this. And then, by default, there'll be some preset images in here, but this, works in like a 3D way. So you can use this as much as you want. You can go in and adjust the sort of the border radius if you don't want it rounded. So we can remove that. We can double click it and we can basically go in here and set the different images. If you want text overlaying, if you want a description on it, and also if you want a call to action button, you can go in there and add a link if you want to for each of the cards. And you can also set the padding per device as well. So if you want to change this for desktop, tablet, and mobile, for the spacing in between, you can adjust that to your heart's content, which is really cool. So this is quite a lot of people's favorite new feature. I think I can see it get used a lot in a lot of projects, and I think it's just really cool. So this doesn't use the 3D object; it's its own thing, sort of recreating 3D with using 2D objects, which I think is really cool. No worries. Keep the questions coming, guys. Did you have any questions, Marlon?
Mm, maybe about so you know the color change for the first section,
Mm-hmm.
the little Easter egg that I didn't even know myself I could use when I first read the year in review.
Mm-hmm. Well, I
Well,
did
that was
cover.
the first.
I did cover that, but
Yeah, but just if anyone's unclear on how to do that, or if the users,
yeah. So it's basically activated by these two buttons here. So you've got the sort of pulsing buttons that we've got. And when you hover over it, will say moon, and then if you go with the other one, it will say sun. Yeah, and it will change the background. Which, yeah, is, as I said, it was inspired by this 900 octane page. So if I can open that up. Yeah, so it's called Azula Beach, which I think it's like a holiday resort or something, which is yeah, a really cool page actually. And then they have like a day and night version of the same page, which I think is, yeah, really cool.
would it work to do that on a whole project?
Yeah, it would. Yeah, we did test it out. So you could basically set the one trigger. So the button would be the trigger, and then you would have to add the animation to each of the sections to change the background. I was worried at first that doing it for that many sections might be like slow, or it might slow down the page or something like that. But it worked absolutely fine, which was yeah, really cool. How does the color fade to the section below work? Ah, yes, good question. Let me take a look. I'm just going to copy and paste it from the project and put it into our one that we're working on here. Bum, bum, bum. Let's take a look. So I'm going to copy this. So, and yeah, don't apologize for the questions. It's good. It's very, very good. Yeah, so here we've got, yeah, the background here, as you can see on the right hand side, is set to this yellow color. And again, this is activated using the animation tool, and we're going to be using a scroll animation. So here on the left hand side, I've got this section here, and you can see we've got the animation attached to it. So if I click on this, you can see here we have the scroll animation activated. And then inside of here, we've set it to change background color as an animation. So uh, inside of this, we then set it to the new background color that we want it to be. And then we just added a different animation curve to make it look a bit smoother rather than it being a little bit static when you used a linear animation gradient. So yeah, super simple. So we've just set the position to be top, no offset. So when that comes into view as you're scrolling, it will then activate this scroll animation, which isn't working on here because I think I just copied it in. If I refresh this, maybe it didn't work because I copied and pasted it from another project. But yeah, that's how you would achieve it with that. On another topic, maybe for later, is it possible to change the cursor for a user as he scrolls on the page or a specific section? Yes, it is. There is a add-on. So if you want it to be for a specific element, so for example, this one here at the bottom, if I go to this little puzzle piece icon, that opens up the add-ons. You can also access it when clicking on it from this tab here on the right-hand side. And then we're going to search for, I think it's mouse cursor. No, cursor. There we go. Cursor style. So if I click on this, then click apply add-on, you then have some presets in here. So if you want a hoop, circle, basketball, cross, you can also add a custom image as well. So if you want to add your own image onto it, but for this, I'll just select cross, for example, and let's set this to be white. Then you can adjust, yeah, the color of it, the size of it, if you want a radius on it, if you want like a filter on the background. So if you want the background behind it to blur or change, invert, something like that, there's a few options you can do there. And then if I go to the preview and then, yeah, hover over it, you can see that now that mouse cursor changes as I hover over this section. No worries. Happy to help. I think there's a lot of cool questions coming in, and hopefully, it's helping a lot of people out to get their Vev projects in. Has anybody worked on a year in review project themselves or annual report in Vev? Which would be good to hear if you want to share them. Funnily enough, we do have a video now on how to build an annual report.
We do indeed. I'm going to share it in the chat now. There's a link to our new Learn Hub, which Lewis, you're the face of.
Yeah, I know. I'm the face of Vev now.
And it's so good. And in one of the videos, you'll see from Lewis himself some tips on how to build an annual report in Vev. There's also other things there like horizontal scroll or interactive websites, but definitely something you should check out and see if maybe you can sketch up an annual report.
Yeah, I think you're
Year
running
isn't
out.
over yet.
If you're only starting, if you're only starting your annual report now, you might wanna hurry up. There's only 16, 17 days left of the year, so. But we're also going to be adding more videos, of course, over time. And in this, on the Learn Hub, you can also access our help center as well. And you can also join our Discord, where you can talk to other Vev users and talk to some of our dev team as well. So if you are a coder and want to learn more about Vev and how to code in Vev, there's a nice community in there, which you can talk about. I was wondering how the community part was made. Like, how do you get this sliding effect when hovering over different parts of that section? I can cover that again. So yeah, so for this part here, where we've got each of these different, I guess, rows. Each one of these is a frame, and then the frame itself, there's two different animations set. So the first one is set on the actual frame itself. So when I click on animation, you can see in here it's set as a hover animation and it's set to move. So that's when it moves across. So that's the first animation part of it. And then each one will obviously be, for example, will be moving in the other direction. This will be the same and this will be moving in the other direction as well. And then within this frame itself, if we go break down into the frame, we have a circle, which is this little circle here. And then we have the text box inside here. So if I click on this animation, this is the second part of the animation. So with this, we have changed background color. And then we've set the actual frame itself to be the trigger. So when you hover over the frame, so the entire frame, then it activates the background color change, and then we just set that background color respectively for each of the different ones. So if we now go back into preview, we can see we've got each one of these moving. And then it also has an animation curve on it with the, because you can see it's kind of like more fluid as it moves back and forth. And that's determined by the, if we go on to here, the animation curve here. So if you want something to be a bit more natural and flowing rather than being static, you can mess around or have a look at the different presets that we have here for the animation curve. Awesome. How do you add a link? Yes. So links is again a separate add-on. So you can see here when I click on this, for example, I'm just going to refresh that to put that back to where it was. Oh, the animation just keeps playing, which is fun. There we go. Set that back. So yeah, we got the link set here. So this is an add-on. So if I want to add this, I would again either go to the puzzle piece here or the add-ons on the right-hand side and just search for link. If I spell it right. And then here, because it's already added, we can see we've got link, but it will appear on this list if it's not. So for example, if I want to add it to this text box here, search for add-on and then search for link, it will be in here, press the little plus, and then I will add that to this this text box. But you can add this to anything. You can add it to frames, you can add it to images. So if you want to turn anything into a link, you can just apply that as an add-on. And then the settings that you have here is what type of link you want. So the options are page. So page links link to other pages within the same project. So if you have a project, you can have multiple pages inside of it. So you can kind of build like a microsite inside of it. And that will, when you click on this, you can then link to other pages within that same project. You can even set an animation this way as well. So if you want it to animate to that page, like slide across or fade, you can add that as well. And then you have element. So element links kind of work like anchors. So if you set a element within the page, when you click it, it will sort of scroll up to that element that you have, which creates cool anchor effects. Then you have external links, which you would just essentially put the URL in, and you can also set it to open page in a new tab, and then some of the sort of like Google indexing as well, like no follow, or say that's a sponsored link. And then you have email. So if you want to have an email address, so if you're on your computer and you click it, it'll open up your email browser with that email predefined. Phone number. This kind of works mostly only on mobile, but if you've got something like Skype or something installed on your computer, I think that works as well. By clicking the phone number, it will put that into your phone to call it. And then finally, you have file. So if you have if you want a download link and you want the file, so like a PDF or like a zip folder or something, you can select file and then just upload that manually. So when someone clicks that download link, it will then download that to their browser. And that is it. I'll just attach that so I remember. Is it possible to have shared animations as well? Yes, kind of. We call it something a little bit different. So we call them presets. So for example, if I open up this animation, so if I click on this, and then here you can see at the very top, you have this little drop down icon. So this is basically a preset. So all of the add-ons you can create presets on. It's not just animations. And then if we can see we've made two in here. So I've got the day and night one, sun and moon one, which are presets. But if you want to create your own presets, you would just press the plus and then give this preset a name. So I can just call this slide right, for example, and tick that, and then that creates a preset which I can apply now to any other different animation. So if I have this one here and search for animation, apply that, I can then select that from that list here. So then that's now applying that animation, which is cool. How does the link type element work? I can show you. Let me scroll to the top. Let's apply it to, for example, this text here. So if I apply, where should we link that to? Let's link that to desktop. So I'm going to add the animation. This already has an animation on it. Oh no, we want a link. We want a link. So if I select link here and I click apply add-on, I'm going to go select element. And then I'm just going to make this anchor to a different section. So I'm going to set this to this promotional block one. So now if I preview and then this appears, when I click this, you can see it then automatically scrolls down to that section there that we have here. And this kind of works if you want to link back to top or something like that, or if you have a navigation on like a one-page design on a long page, you can add that at the top, so you can just make that anchor to wherever you want in the page. No worries. Thanks for all the questions, guys. They're all very, very, very good. And don't worry if you're asking too many, because we have plenty of time, I think. Well, I say plenty of time. We have 10 minutes left, which has actually flown by. Any more questions from you, Marlon?
No, I'm just here soaking in all the things.
All the knowledge.
All the knowledge.
You can build the year in review next year then?
Yeah. I can make a commercial one.
Yeah, there you
Internal year in review. We might not show it on a web lounge, but who knows?
I think we should. I'm this time next year, I'm going to hold you to that.
Okay. I'll better get starting.
we've
I'll
got
use your
the evidence now
tutorial.
recorded, so
Yeah, I'll use your tutorial
yeah.
to do it.
Any more for any more?
Have you checked the Q&A pending questions,
No,
my friend?
no, there's a few.
Yep.
How long? Okay, yeah, there's a few in here. Sorry, guys, I completely missed. Someone said their favorite is the 3D Grillo, which is cool. Does animation work on mobile? Yes, it does. So when you apply animation to an element, it applies it across all breakpoints. So you don't need to, worry about reapplying them or adjusting them. They all work fine. Obviously, things like hover animation won't work because there isn't a hover on mobile or tablet unless you plug in a mouse, which not a lot of people do, or pretty much nobody does. So that's just something you need to take into account. So if you wanted to animate on click instead, you can apply the hover animation and the click animation too, which is good. How long did this take to create in Vev? It took a little while. I think this was probably the biggest project I've worked on collaboratively. So there was 3 of us in total working as a collaboration. I think there was a lot of back and forth in terms of like the design iterations and stuff like that. But the actual build time itself, I think between us is probably about a week's worth, all in all, over a course of like 3-4 weeks, just going back and forth and jumping in and making adjustments based on feedback and stuff like that. So fairly quick, but it always depends on your internal processes and things like that, and who's signing things off and things, which I'm sure everybody can relate to if working on projects like this. That's that one, and that one. Not sure if it's already been shown, but how was the blog post section made? That wasn't shown, so I can cover that in just a moment. What was your favorite part to create in this, and why? I think the exploding numbers, just because it's a really powerful effect, and it's not something I've personally done before. Obviously, it was inspiration taken by publicists, so it was really cool for me to be able to recreate that, which was really cool. And then obviously it looks and it runs really well, which I think was really rewarding. That's that. Could you create something like Spotify wrapped in Vev and personalize user data depending on who is logged in? Good question. I don't want to say it's impossible because it's definitely doable. I think if you have the code knowledge, because you'll need to integrate like external APIs and things like that. But I think it will probably be a lot of work. But I'm not a developer, unfortunately. So I think if anyone in the development team is in the chat, they can maybe answer that one. But I think it definitely would involve code. 100% would need some code involvement. I'll show off how to do the hover for the blog bit. Lamont asks, was everything made in the design editor, or has there been used any coding used? So everything from this annual report, I believe there was something we were going to do, which was custom, but in the end, everything that you see was made directly in Vev, just using a design editor. So there was no extra coding involved, which I think is actually quite a big achievement in terms of no code and it looks amazing. I think, which is prompts to the team on that. Let's take a look now at that blog section. Let me grab that from the other place. Bring that into the project that we're working on. If I can find it, here we go. Let's copy you and find you in here. Let's come out the preview, and then let's get rid of this bottom section and paste this in. So here we've created different cards. So these are all images that are just spaced out and sized in different ways with rotation and stuff like that. And again, it's just a simple use of the hover animation. So if, for example, I select this one, if I go to the top to see that we've got the animation add-on applied, if I select this, you can see that we have a custom preset made. So we will add the duration of 1. And then we've got the animation curve set to cubic. And then we just simply added the rotation, which was only 15 degrees, and then the scale of 1.1. So this has been applied uniquely for each different one. So they're all moving in different directions and they scale individually. But yeah, all applied into these individually. So very cool effect, which you can achieve very easily actually and very quickly. And if you wanted to as well to simply save yourself some time, firstly you can make a preset which we covered earlier on this drop down, or you can also press this little copy button. So say you've made your animation and you just want to copy and paste it across to a different element, you can select this. We'll press this little copy button here. This then adds it to the clipboard and you get a little notice here at the bottom. And then you can find something else you want to apply it to. So if I want to apply it to this, for example, all I would need to do is select that new element. And then at the top here, you have this new paste icon that appears. So when that's pressed, it then pastes that, opens up the settings just to show you, or if maybe if you want to make an adjustment to that. But then now that is exactly the same animation set. So save yourself some time in the long run. And I think that covers all our questions. And I think we're reaching the end of our session, Marlon. If you had any
Indeed. 3 minutes
closing
left.
words.
Any closing words? Thank you to all that have watched the Bev Lounge today and joined us and asked great questions. I hope you will continue to attend our events and see our examples and read our blog in 2023 as well. And yeah, it's been a good time, you guys.
Yeah, it's been a good year. There's been a lot of work done and a lot of great work from my clients. Yeah, we'll be back next month, I think. Maybe.
We will indeed.
Not sure the
After the
date yet,
holiday.
but stay tuned on our socials. We'll post when we are going live with those. And obviously, do share this Vev Lounge. It's going to live forever on our socials as well. So if anyone you think would benefit from some of the tips today, do feel free to share it with them. And we will also be updating our Learn Hub more frequently now that it's live. So stay tuned for more video content too.
And thank you, Lewis, for carrying us through this session and all the other sessions with all of your fantastic Vev knowledge.
Oh, it's my job, so it's what I'm here for.
You're great at your job.
When will this be up on YouTube? Oof, that's what
ASAP. We'll get it out this week.
We will talk to the powers that be and pull that for you, Morty. All right, Marlon.
All right. Have a good rest of your day, morning, depending on where you are. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year and happy holidays.
Bye, everyone.